My dear friend, let me ask you something no one else dares to ask. Have you ever felt like your body was trying to tell you something? Something quiet, something hidden, but no one ever taught you how to listen. Today we're going to talk about a part of the body that's been dismissed, misunderstood, and flat out ignored for centuries. A part that holds not pain, not disease, but pleasure. Real deep, whole body pleasure. Yes, my dear friend, I'm talking about the clitoris. Now don't look away. I know for some folks our age, even saying that word out loud feels strange, maybe even shameful. But what if I told you? The clitoris isn't shameful, it's powerful. What if I told you? It's the only organ in the human body made solely for pleasure, and yet 70 to 90% of women need clitoral stimulation to reach orgasm. And no one ever taught them how it works. No one explained its structure. No one talked about it in school, not even most doctors. You see, friend, the truth is, this little organ has more nerve endings than the penis, over 8,000 packed into a pea-sized tip, all connected to 15,000 more throughout the pelvis. It lights up the brain in ways we're only beginning to understand. And yet, for generations, it's been silenced, hidden, cut out, sometimes literally. Why? Why has this powerful organ been hidden in shame for so long? Could it be that ignoring it has cost millions of women decades of joy? You and I were not too old to ask these questions, and I promise you what you're about to hear may just reconnect you to something you thought was lost. So, my beloved friend, if you're still with me, I have two tiny requests before we dive into the heart of this story. First, would you mind clicking that subscribe button and turning on notifications? That way you won't miss any of the hidden health gems I bring to you, just like this one every week. Second, please hit that like button and type the number 1 in the comments so I know you're here with me. And would you consider sharing this video with someone you care about? Maybe in a WhatsApp group, a senior Facebook page, or just to a friend who might need it. Because you never know. One little share might help a woman who thought pleasure was behind her. A woman who hasn't felt connected to her body in decades. A woman who thinks it's too late. It's not too late. Now let's take a gentle but honest journey into the body, into the place where joy lives. I'm about to share with you the very first secret, and it's one that most people, maybe even you, have never heard before. The hidden structure that no one ever taught you about. My dear friend, what if I told you the clitoris is not just that tiny little bump at the top of the vulva? What if I told you? That's only the tip of the iceberg. You see, the clitoris is so much more than what meets the eye. What we can see called the glans is only a small visible part about the size of a pea. It's tucked gently under a little hood of skin, the prepuce that works like a protective cover, kind of like the foreskin of the penis. But here's the thing that blew my mind. The first time I learned it, the clitoris stretches deep inside the body. It's a wishbone-shaped structure with legs, yes, legs called crura, that extend backward along the pelvic bones. These legs wrap around the vaginal canal, almost like an embrace you never knew was happening. And attached to those legs are the vestibular bulbs which swell and press against nearby tissues when aroused, intensifying every sensation. According to research published in the Journal of Sexual Medicine, the entire clitoral structure can measure between 9 to 12 centimeters in length. That's almost 5 inches of nerve-rich, pleasure-giving tissue, most of it completely hidden. Yet for years, even medical textbooks left this out. And many women and men have lived entire lives not even knowing it existed. That's not just a scientific oversight. That's a personal tragedy. Friend, if no one ever told you this, please know it's not your fault. You weren't supposed to guess your way through your own body. You deserve to be taught, but it's not too late. And if you've come this far with me, please tap that like button and drop the number 2 in the comments. It tells me you're still here, still curious, still brave enough to reclaim the map of your body. And share this with someone you trust, because the next secret about how this tiny organ contains more nerve endings than the penis might just change the way they see female pleasure forever. Shall we go on? More nerves than the penis. More pleasure than you've ever been told. My dear sweet friend, I want you to take a deep breath and let this next truth settle in gently. The clitoris isn't just sensitive, it's the most sensitive organ in the human body. And I mean that literally. The glans of the clitoris alone contains around 8,000 nerve endings, and those are just the ones at the surface. These nerve endings connect to about 15,000 more spread throughout the pelvic region, all working together in perfect harmony to create waves of sensation that can light up the entire nervous system. That number, it's twice as many nerve endings as the head of the penis. Let that sink in for a moment, my beloved friend. Twice the power, twice the potential. And yet so many women have gone their whole lives never knowing that. Functional MRI scans, those are brain imaging studies, have shown something even more astonishing. When a woman experiences clitoral stimulation, it doesn't just light up one tiny part of the brain, it activates dozens of regions all at once, including those responsible for emotion memory, motor function, bonding, and even decision-making. Researchers at Rutgers University found that clitoral orgasms engage more brain areas than any other type of sensory input. That's not just arousal. That's a full-body emotional, mental, and spiritual experience. But here's the heartbreaking twist, friend. Most women have never had that kind of orgasm, not because their bodies can't, but because no one ever told them it was even possible. I'm here to tell you, it is possible. It always has been. So if you're still with me, please tap the like button and comment with the number 3, so I know your heart is still open and your curiosity is alive. And if someone you know, a sister, a daughter, a dear friend, has ever felt broken or numb or just quietly disconnected from their body, share this with them. Because the next truth we're about to uncover might just be the one they never knew they needed. What if I told you? The clitoris and the penis were once the same thing, born from the same beginning, the secret twin of the penis. My dear friend, this next part might just change the way you think about your own body forever. You see, in the earliest weeks of life, before we even knew if we'd grow into a boy or a girl, every single human embryo starts out exactly the same. I'm talking about the same shape, the same tissue, the same tiny beginnings. There's a little structure called the genital tubercle, and it's the seed of everything to come. Around the 6th week of development, something remarkable happens. If the embryo is exposed to testosterone, that tubercle begins to grow into a penis. But if it's not flooded with testosterone, it transforms into a clitoris. That means, dear friend, the penis and clitoris are homologous. Their biological siblings form from the same origin, and yet society has treated them so differently. One has been honored, studied, even glorified. The other ignored, silenced, even cut out. But you and I, we know better now. We know that the clitoris is not a lesser version of anything. It's not broken. It's not extra. It's just as real, just as powerful, and just as worthy of attention and care as any other part of the body. It also means that all those feelings, those tingles, those stirrings, even those silent longings you may have tucked away, they were never weird, never shameful. They were simply the body doing what it was designed to do. Friend, if this is your first time hearing this, don't feel sad, feel empowered, because knowledge like this means it's not too late to understand, to reconnect, and to feel again. If you're still with me, please click the like button and drop the number 4 in the comments. It lets me know you're still walking this journey beside me. And share this with someone who deserves to know their body is not a mistake. The next truth, it's the one that sets everything apart. Because unlike most organs, the clitoris has only one job, and it's a job no other organ in the body was built for pleasure, not reproduction. A purpose like no other. My dear friend, take a quiet moment with me here. Because what I'm about to share might feel simple on the surface, but underneath, it's revolutionary. The clitoris is the only organ in the human body that exists for one reason, and one reason only: pleasure. It has no role in reproduction. It doesn't release eggs. It doesn't carry sperm. It doesn't deliver babies. Its entire purpose, its sole mission, is to help you feel. And yet, for centuries, that very purpose has been dismissed. Like pleasure wasn't important. Like women didn't deserve to feel it. But let me ask you something, my friend. If something was created purely to bring joy, to soothe stress, to help the brain release oxytocin, dopamine, endorphins, those powerful healing chemicals, how could anyone say it's not vital to health? The truth is, pleasure is health. It eases tension. It supports heart health. It boosts immunity. It even helps with sleep. And do you know what activates all that more efficiently than most medications? Clitoral stimulation. Harvard Medical School and Mayo Clinic have both acknowledged in recent years that sexual wellness, including female orgasm, is deeply connected to emotional, physical, and mental health. That's not fluff. That's science catching up to what our bodies have always known. But here's the hard part. When women are told that pleasure isn't necessary, that it's optional or even shameful, they begin to disconnect from their own bodies. They stop asking for touch. They stop exploring. They start shrinking, not just physically, but emotionally. And that, my dear friend, is where we lose so much more than sensation. We lose connection. We lose joy. But you know what? It doesn't have to be that way. The clitoris doesn't retire. It doesn't fade with time. With a little care, it thrives. If you're still walking beside me, tap that like button and leave the number 5 in the comments. Let me know you're still here, still curious, still claiming what's always been yours. And share this video with someone who's been told they're too old to feel pleasure again, because in the next part, we'll talk about how the clitoris was ignored by doctors for generations, and how that silence stole decades of understanding. Ready. Silenced by shame. How medicine forgot the clitoris. My dear friend, this part hurts, not because it's graphic, not because it's vulgar, but because it's true, and because it happened to millions of women, including women like you and me. For centuries, the clitoris was labeled unnecessary, leftover, even irrelevant. Medical textbooks either skipped over it or mentioned it with barely a sentence. In fact, some anatomy guides used for training doctors didn't even include the full structure of the clitoris until the late 1990s. Can you believe that? And why? Because the clitoris doesn't make babies. That was the excuse. Since it wasn't tied to reproduction, many doctors, scientists, even entire institutions decided it didn't matter, that it was a luxury, a joke, something to blush about, laugh off, or ignore completely. But let's be honest, my friend. That wasn't medicine. That was misogyny dressed up in a white coat. Women were taught to endure, not to enjoy, to be good wives, not curious humans. And slowly, generation after generation, women lost the language of their own bodies. They stopped asking, stopped exploring, stopped believing they deserved to feel anything more than duty. The result, millions of women lived entire lives never knowing that a part of them was being silenced. They weren't broken, they were dismissed. But you, my friend, you're here, you're listening, and that makes you a part of something powerful. So if this part of the story stirred something in your heart, if it brought up memories, anger, maybe even grief, please hit that like button and comment the number 6. And if you know someone who still carries shame about their body, who still believes their pleasure doesn't matter, please share this with them, because in the next section, we'll talk about the tragic consequences of that silence, about the women whose bodies were not just dismissed, but damaged, cut, mutilated, and always without consent. The wound that doesn't bleed, the tragedy of FGM. My dear friend, this part is not easy to speak about, but we must, because silence is what allowed it to happen in the first place. Female genital mutilation. FGM is the name given to a horrific practice that has stolen the bodies and voices of over 230 million girls and women across more than 30 countries. That number? It breaks my heart, and I know it might break yours too. FGM involves the partial or total removal of the external female genitalia, including often the clitoris. It's done to control desire, to suppress sexuality, to prepare a girl for marriage, but not for her health, not for her pleasure, and certainly never with her consent. These procedures are often carried out without anesthesia, on children, with razors, with scissors, with pieces of glass. There's blood, there's screaming, there's trauma, and when it's over, there's silence, because the world around her tells her she should be proud. That pain is virtue, that womanhood is suffering. But my dear friend, this is not tradition. This is trauma. The World Health Organization has made it clear FGM has no health benefits. It can cause severe pain, infections, cysts, difficulty urinating, complications during childbirth, and a heightened risk of infant death. And yet, it continues. Why? Because for generations, the female body has been viewed not as sacred, but as something to control. And that control always begins by silencing pleasure. If your heart feels heavy right now, it's okay. Mine does too. But we must feel it, because behind every statistic is a woman, a girl, a story that matters. Please, my beloved friend, if you're still with me, hit that like button and comment with the number 7. And, more importantly, share this video. Not because it's easy to watch, but because it's necessary. We can't undo the past, but we can break the silence that keeps these wounds bleeding in the dark. And next, I want to show you something many people never realize: how the clitoris changes and grows over a woman's lifetime, from puberty to childbirth to menopause, and how those changes hold a secret most people never expect. Shall we go on changing with time? How the clitoris grows through every season of life. My dear friend, aging is something we talk about often. We speak of gray hair, aching knees, wrinkles around the eyes. But there's one part of the body that keeps changing quietly, gently, without anyone ever mentioning it out loud. Yes, I'm still talking about the clitoris. You see, from the moment a girl is born, the clitoris is already there, small, often just a few millimeters wide. During childhood, it stays tucked away, quiet, barely noticed. But once puberty begins and hormones like estrogen and testosterone surge, something beautiful happens. The clitoris begins to grow, not just on the outside, but deep inside. Its internal arms and bulbs become fuller, richer in blood flow, more sensitive, more alive. According to research published in the Journal of Urology, the clitoris can grow up to 2.5 times its original size from puberty to postmenopause. That's right, 2.5 times. It's not shrinking with age. It's expanding, evolving, maturing, just like the woman it belongs to. And during pregnancy or childbirth, changes can be even more dramatic. Increased hormone levels can make the clitoris even more engorged and sensitive. Some women report heightened pleasure during this time. Others feel discomfort. But either way, the body is responding. It's alive. It's listening. Then comes menopause. Hormone levels drop. Estrogen fades. And for some women, the clitoris may feel smaller, less responsive. But that doesn't mean it's gone. It doesn't mean you're broken. It just means the language of your body has changed, and it's waiting for you to learn a new way to listen. You see, friend, your clitoris doesn't retire. It just needs a little more tenderness, a little more attention, a little more care. And if no one ever told you that I want you to hear it from me, now you are still capable of joy. You are still wired for pleasure, and that part of you is not past its prime. It may just be waiting for rediscovery. So if this spoke to your heart, please tap that like button and leave the number 8 in the comments. And if you know a friend who thinks pleasure belongs only to the young, please share this. Because next we'll talk about something that many suffer in silence, clitoral numbness when the signals of sensation begin to fade, and how we can bring them back. Shall we, when pleasure fades? Understanding clitoral numbness. My dear, dear friend, have you ever reached for something familiar, something you used to feel so deeply, and instead found silence, not just in your heart, but in your body? If so, you're not alone. And you're certainly not broken. Many women, especially as they age, experience something quietly devastating. It's called clitoral numbness. It's when the sensations that once brought joy begin to fade. Sometimes it feels like a dullness, sometimes like nothing at all. And the worst part, most women don't talk about it. They blame themselves, or worse, they think it's just part of getting old. But let me tell you the truth, my friend. Numbness is not failure. It's a signal. It's your body saying, I need help. I need healing. This can happen for many reasons. It might be nerve damage from childbirth or pelvic surgery. It might be caused by certain medications like antidepressants or blood pressure pills. It can be linked to diabetes, spinal issues, or even emotional trauma. And yes, the drop in estrogen after menopause can make tissues thinner, drier, and less responsive to touch. According to a study in Menopause, the Journal of the North American Menopause Society, more than 45% of women over 60 report decreased genital sensation. But here's the good news. They also found that with the right care, many of those women regain significant sensation. It's not a closed door. It's a door that needs a different key. So please, if you've ever felt that quiet grief, the grief of a body that doesn't respond the way it used to, know that you're not alone. And more importantly, know that you don't have to stay there. If this touched something inside you, even something hard to name, I gently ask you to hit that like button and comment the number 9. You're still here, still hopeful, still in tune with yourself. And if someone you love has withdrawn, disconnected, stopped smiling, maybe this is the conversation they've been waiting for. Because next we'll speak honestly about what happens after menopause. When hormones drop, when tissues shrink, when pleasure feels out of reach, and how we can soften those changes with care, knowledge, and love. Come with me. After the change, how the clitoris responds to menopause. My dear friend, if you've ever felt like your body was pulling away from you in these later years, like it wasn't listening the way it used to, I want you to know this. You're not imagining it. And you're certainly not alone. After menopause, when estrogen levels fall, the clitoris, like many parts of the body, undergoes real physical change. The tissues can shrink. The glands, once fuller and more exposed, may recede beneath its hood. The surrounding skin may become thinner, drier, more fragile, and for some women, this leads to a drop in sensation or even discomfort when touched. This isn't a flaw in you. It's not a punishment. It's biology. But biology doesn't mean destiny. You see, studies from the Cleveland Clinic and Johns Hopkins Medicine have shown that many of these changes are reversible or at the very least manageable. The key is attention. Gentle, compassionate attention. Vaginal estrogen creams, hormone therapy, high-quality lubricants, and regular gentle stimulation. All of these can help restore blood flow, preserve elasticity, and bring back sensitivity. It's not about being 20 again. It's about being connected to your body now, just as you are. But here's something I need you to hear, my sweet friend. Many women never seek help for these changes. They feel embarrassed, or defeated, or they think it's too late for me. Let me say this clearly, it's not too late. You are not dried up, you are not broken, you are not finished. If you're still listening, still feeling, still longing in any small way, you are alive. And that's more than enough. So please, if this message speaks to you, hit that like button and leave the number 10 in the comments. Let me know that you're still with me, still curious, still willing to believe that healing is possible even now. And stay close, dear one, because next we'll talk about what can help. The real practical steps rooted in science and love that can help you reconnect with the pleasure, the sensation, the confidence that's still inside you. Are you ready for the part where we reclaim it all, rekindling sensation, real ways to reclaim what's rightfully yours? My dear friend, now that we've walked through the pain, the silence, the forgetting, let's talk about something even more powerful: remembering, reclaiming, reviving. Yes, there are ways to bring sensation back. To feel more connected, to feel more you. One of the simplest starting points is touch. Gentle, regular stimulation without pressure, without a goal, can actually help wake up nerve endings over time. Think of it like stretching a sleepy muscle. It may resist at first, but it remembers, and it responds. Then there's hormonal care. Estrogen creams applied directly to the vulva have been shown in numerous studies, including those from the North American Menopause Society, to restore tissue thickness, improve elasticity, and boost blood flow. This means less dryness, less discomfort, and more of that precious thing we've been talking about, sensation. For some women, systemic hormone therapy might be appropriate, something to talk through gently with a trusted healthcare provider. And no, you don't need to feel nervous or ashamed. Asking for help isn't weakness, it's wisdom. Beyond hormones, there's pelvic floor, physical therapy, a gentle, supportive practice that teaches you how to engage, relax, and strengthen the deep muscles around your pelvis. These therapies aren't just for pain, they're for pleasure too. They're for presence. And finally, my friend, don't underestimate the power of connection with yourself, with someone you trust, with a community of women who are also rediscovering what was once buried. Talking about this, laughing about it, sometimes even crying about it, but always, always honoring it. Because the clitoris, like the woman it belongs to, is resilient. It might need patience, it might need gentleness, but it is never too far gone. So if this moment feels like a beginning to you, like a door creaking open after being locked too long, please hit that like button and comment the number 11. Let me know you're still with me, still listening, still hopeful. And share this with someone who's ready, someone who's waited long enough. Because next, my beloved friend, we'll bring everything full circle. We'll take what we've learned and turn it into something beautiful. A quiet reminder that you are still whole, still worthy, still wildly, wonderfully alive. Shall we? My dear, dear friend, if you're still here, if you've made it all the way to this final moment with me, I just want to say one thing first. Thank you. Thank you for your courage, for your open heart, for your willingness to explore a part of your body, your story, your soul that so many were taught to hide, to hush, to forget. The clitoris is not just anatomy. It's a symbol, a quiet rebellion. A reminder that pleasure isn't shameful, that desire doesn't expire, and that your body, yes, your beautiful, aging, wise, worthy body, is still yours to love. You've learned today that the clitoris isn't small or weak or irrelevant. You've learned it grows with time, that it lights up the brain, that it has no job except to bring joy, and that it never stops working unless we stop listening. And maybe, just maybe, you've remembered something inside yourself. Maybe not everything makes sense yet. Maybe you still carry some sadness or grief or confusion. That's okay. Growth isn't always loud. Sometimes it's quiet. Sometimes it begins with a whisper, but let this be your whisper. You are not too old. You are not too late. You are not alone. If something in this video surprised you, moved you, or helped you feel seen, please share it. Maybe with a friend, a daughter, a sister, maybe in a group that needs a little softness and a little truth. Because the most powerful thing you can do, my beloved friend, is help another woman remember who she is. And before we say goodbye for today, let me leave you with this little truth from an old Appalachian saying: you don't stop dancing because you grow old. You grow old because you stop dancing. So keep dancing, even if it's just in your heart, even if it's just with your breath. And if this video gave you something worth holding on to, would you do 2 gentle things? First, leave me a comment below. Let me know what touched you most. I read every single one. Second, hit that like button and subscribe to this channel. I share stories like this, often stories made just for us, the ones growing wiser with every passing season. Until next time, my dear friend, be kind to your body, be gentle with your history, and never ever stop believing that pleasure is your birthright.